Now, if you have not been living under a rock, then you will know what has been going on in Palestine for the last year. It's been a year of genocide in Gaza. And we keep seeing an escalation in the violence. We look at the catastrophic impact on the people of Gaza. And then we look at some organizations out there who are really making a difference. And one of those is the African Muslims Agency. African Muslims Agencies has continued to work in the Gaza Strip throughout this war. Imagine that. You can see those scenes on your social media, on your TV screens, although of course they suppress it, so you're probably better off getting a lot more from the socials. But there you have African Muslims Agency out there fighting the good fight and working on a campaign, which is the campaign for Gaza, right? And today we have the pleasure and the honor, the privilege, because there is so much misinformation out there, to be speaking to African Muslim Agency's Head of International Relations, and that is Ashraf Gangraka. So he's joining us all the way from Lebanon, and we're going to be talking to him about what has been going on in terms of the For Gaza campaign. So Ted, my brother, do we have him on the line? Yes, we do. Good afternoon and assalamu alaikum, Ashraf. How are you?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah, and thank you for the wonderful introduction. Clear, vivid, evocative, and really, I think you encapsulated it perfectly. Just one slight correction, if you don't mind. By Allah's mercy and grace, I am back home in South Africa, and so no longer in Lebanon. But alhamdulillah, I'm back safe and sound, yes.
Oh, alhamdulillah. I'm sure that your family and friends must be absolutely relieved. And, you know, painting a picture of Gaza, unfortunately, isn't difficult. Isn't it sad to say that we see so much of it and yet it seems to come to no end? But you folks are doing quite a good job, right? You're working on this For Gaza campaign. Can you tell us how it's been going so far? What are the initiatives that people are working on currently to help to raise funds? Because those needs continue to grow in Gaza, right?
No, absolutely. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In fact, they escalate. And I think that's the reality. And so I really, really want to thank you, really for the introduction and for the way you've set the context, as it were. And I think, for us, why we're having this particular campaign in the month of October is that I need for everybody to have the deep realization that we are the voice of Palestinians. Yeah. And a disturbing thing that I'm hearing sometimes is, there's this Palestinian fatigue, donor fatigue, as it were. Mm. And the moment we become desensitized, and as you said, we see the clips and it, circulates on all sorts of social media. And it's so easy to think, oh, yeah, no, sure, we've seen this before. And when that happens, then that complacency sets in. It quite honestly affects our brothers and sisters even more. When I say we are the voice, I mean that both in the figurative and the literal sense. So given that, the month of October is the centenary, a year, not a celebration anyway, but a awareness campaign of the 7th of October. And we know that the conflict didn't start last year, the 7th of October. It started in 1948 and before then. Mm-hmm. But we chose this month of October to be a rallying call to conscientize people, raise awareness, and say, join us for the For Gaza campaign. So when you ask me how's it going, what we did was we tried to make this as broadly based as possible for anyone and everyone to say, because it's easy to also have a sense of helplessness, that, shame, what can I do, etc., etc. Well, there's much to be done. Mm-hmm. And so this particular campaign, and whether with the greatest respect, as in restaurants who said to us, great, we will ask our patrons to add 10 rand. This is my contribution. We have a number of sporting clubs coming forth and saying, great, we'll have a paddle tournament. And of particular note has been the cycling community. Yes. In Cape Town, where I'm from, there's been, there's a club called Wheel to Heel. And they've been the impetus for other cycling clubs who are now doing these cycle rides all over the country, all under the banner of AMA, but For Gaza. And sadly, we now need to add For Gaza and Lebanon. For the bombing in Lebanon continues unabated, and AMA has been in Lebanon working actively there for a huge number of years. So obviously we've extended our campaign to include the suffering, the displaced, and the vulnerable people in Lebanon as well.
Yeah. You know, my background, I'm a social worker.
Sure.
As I started as a social worker. So I can understand. I used to work with political refugees. I can understand the trauma that happens to the people that come out of a setting like that. But the people that are on the ground trying to help people going through that trauma are experiencing the secondhand trauma from the victims, as well as the trauma of being in that environment. And yet, as you say, you know, there is this fatigue that sometimes sets in for us here at home, watching and kind of scrolling through social media, and you're kind of, well, I'll just scroll through this one. And so it must be difficult for your organization to kind of continue to hold back the tide in terms of helping people whilst at the same time trying to fundraise. It's great to hear about the cycling races and those innovative ideas that you've got going to help things, you know, get back up and running. But what are the critical types of aid that AMA is delivering at the moment for people still in Gaza and after October? What are the campaigns you're looking for?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on your opening comments with regards to the issue of the aid workers. I mean, across the board, not just AMA being affected. It's so very true. I'm not saying anything about ourselves, but I know when I came home, you know, it took us a couple of days to recover. And I was trying to understand why, you know, Ashraf, this is what you do. And so that point that you make is really well made and well taken. So in terms of aid in Gaza, I think the first thing we need to understand is that AMA hasn't been in Gaza only since the 7th of October last year. We are fortunate to have teams who are Palestinian, and we've been operative in Palestine for the past number of years.
Mm-hmm.
So our teams there face the same difficulties, the same challenges, the same dangers as any of their brethren and fellow countrymen. All right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this notion is, we often ask, how are you getting the aid in, etc., etc.? And the answer to that is that we are sourcing it in Gaza itself. So what exactly are we doing? You would love to say, well, great, we're rebuilding homes, etc., but let's just really be practical. So we're focusing on primarily three things. The first is the provision of clean drinking water. Because of the devastation and the destruction, clean drinking water is a scarce commodity. And so we've sourced water tankers within Gaza. And at a cost of 12,000 Rand, we fill those tankers that now move from village to village or town to town. And people would come around with, you know, whatever utensils they have, whatever containers in terms of either, these gallons, 15, 20 gallons, the drums that they have, or even little beakers, whatever the case may be. Clean drinking water is the first. The second, and no less important, has been we've acquired the services of a mobile medical tent. That now also moves from village to village, town to town, and we've been fortunate to secure the expertise of people who are experts in female hygiene and gynecological issues. Because I think it's something so easily forgotten, you know, what our sisters need to go through monthly basis, or those who are pregnant, etc. And then obviously the provision of food. In Lebanon, what we've done, and you use the word refugees, the biggest sadness for me is that there are people in Lebanon who have become refugees in their own country. The displaced community of the south of Lebanon, bombed to smithereens, those people have had to flee their homes in the dead of the night, often only wearing the clothes on their back, and are now living in other places in their own country. But quite honestly, as refugees, they have nothing. State schools have opened their doors and allowed them. So we've been to these shelters where, quite honestly, the desks get stacked up on one level, and the elderly, the young men and women are sleeping on the classroom floor. And so AMA has been, at the forefront of assisting in those shelters. And in fact, we've taken over a particular shelter itself. And so again, just the basic needs, firstly, in terms of food, water, but particularly medicines. So if you're asking what we are doing in the affected areas, it's the issue of water, tankers, food, and the mobile medical tent in Gaza. and then overseeing shelters in Lebanon.
So we are right back down to the basics of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So we at home sit there and think, my gosh, the trauma of hearing the bombs, having to leave your home, the families that get ripped apart, the people that have passed. We need to understand people on the ground are not even able to get to that point because they need to first deal with the basic survival. And with them, the AMA workers as well. But you have some good news from Lebanon this week regarding the Amman School. Share that with us, please.
Yeah, sure. This is exciting. So I have a background in education. I head the education sector as well at AMA, and I oversee the Amman School. So for those of us who are unsure, Amman School was established 4 years ago with the singular purpose of providing education to Syrian and Palestinian refugees. So I was in Lebanon, I think around the 20th of September, and great, we're preparing for the opening of the school on the 23rd, etc. Teachers busy preparing lessons, and schools being decorated, looks amazing. And the 23rd came in, and they started bombing in the vicinity of the school. We had to evacuate the school, send all the kids home. And I think we were all traumatized, As one person asked me this question, as a social worker, you'd relate. Somebody said to me, Ashraf, have you never lived in a war before? As if this is a normal thing. Are you crazy? No, I haven't, Bottom line, kids were in return. These children live in camps. And the saddest thing is that these are, the parents of these children, they had fled the war in Syria and now were subjected to war in Lebanon. But by the efforts of the staff, obviously, always Allah's will first, and the resilience of the teachers, etc., and we're really incredibly happy and humbled to say that school restarted this year, this day. The kids were put on the bus, they put on our uniform. It's the start of the academic year. I spoke to them this morning. And so there was assembly that dealt with, the psychosocial support that children and teachers might need. It's impossible to think, great, let's simply continue with maths and science, etc. And so all of that is in place. And Amman School of Excellence is open for teaching and learning.
Yes, Alhamdulillah. That is really, really good news. And yet, I just have to stress for the listener who's thinking, okay, no, great. Folks, the efforts can't stop there because, yes, they're going to school, but remember their basic needs being food and water. Someone who's been through war, someone who's been through displacement is someone that is trying to learn at the same time as their own little brain is fighting them because of everything they've been through. So the work of this organization is absolutely critical. And then, of course, Amma attended the Global Peace and Unity Festival in London this past weekend. Can you tell us a little bit more about the purpose behind that event and the goal of the organization in attending it?
Sure. So, we have nothing to do with the organization. It's an event that happened, and the last time it happened was before COVID. COVID came along. So incredibly, the who's who in terms of speakers, entertainers in the nasheed world, etc. And then we received an invitation because they had an exhibition hall that dealt with humanitarian organizations.
Right.
And so obviously, alhamdulillah, our work is public and well known, And so we were invited to attend, and the aim was for me to personally twofold. So one, we went to showcase as to what we do in terms of not just at the moment in Lebanon and in Palestine, but also our work in Africa with regards to the provision of boreholes and water wells, but crucially to learn as well. There's no ways we're going to sit here and say, well, we are the alpha and omega of humanitarian work and, everybody follow us. No, learn from best practice, perhaps the mistakes that we made and the others have made. And so we learn in that. And this sense of collaboration, because we're not here to compete, we're here to complete. And so what the expertise that we have, maybe somebody else doesn't, and vice versa. Maybe somebody else has expertise that we can learn from. So it was a wonderful opportunity to, in a sense, network with other global players in the humanitarian sphere. And from a success point of view, again, we had nothing to do with the organizing of the conference. I think they had between 50 and 70,000 people over the weekend.
Wow.
So it was a wonderful success. And I think, quite honestly, for me, when Muslims gather to obviously highlight the plight of Palestine and Lebanon, but this sense of togetherness, global peace, unity, it's a good feeling. And so one of those feel-good things, but also it highlights how much there's still to be done. And that's always humbling because the need will always, always, always outstrip the supply.
For sure. For sure. There is always, unfortunately, a need. And yes, community upliftment organizations and welfare organizations have to keep learning. Community work is all about that learning, shifting, kind of repositioning as also the needs change. And now you're putting out this fire and at schools, and tomorrow you're still having to deal with the need for food and for water and for shortage. And I'm reminded, you said something about moving as a community, and that is for me such a critical point. If you think of a march, you have these marches, and there is that mass of people that come together, that you lose the individual sense of consciousness and you become just a group united for that common cause. And sharing in perhaps the emotions and the healing and whatever needs to take place of the people that you are serving. And I'm sure that is the case with AMA. But what I'm getting at is that just as we sit as individuals in a march and we come together as a community, I think, alhamdulillah, the Muslim community is, subhanallah, really good at pulling together and helping other communities as a community, so helping one another as a community. And so, the call goes out there that we continue to do that. If you can stop it with your hand, do, and if you can't, stop it with your voice, and if you can't, then make dua, and the least of these is dua. It's prayer. For those who may not be Muslim and tuned in, prayer is dua, and prayer is the thing that moves those mountains. So before we leave you, and I want to say Jazakallah so much for being on the show with us, can you give us some details that listeners could use to get a hold of you, contribute, be part of that community movement, that mass, one mind, one people for the people?
No, sure. And thank you so much, because you're 100%. Really, thanks for having us. I've really enjoyed chatting to you. There's been this notion, when you speak about the sense of community, right?
Yeah.
Because when you leave the march, when maybe you're on your own and you get in the car and you maybe still feeling hyped up, perhaps when you've come home and watched maybe a soccer match or something, we all flow and ebb in our passion and whatever we do.
Yes.
So in terms of community, I want to say to either individuals or individuals who speak to families and families who speak to extended families and friends, go onto our website. Africa Muslimization.co.za. You KZN base. We have an office in Durban, and just ask yourself, great. So what can I do? Yeah. Whatever level of expertise, nobody needs to be, a university graduate to be a humanitarian. Because I'm going to close with this. So I was at a shelter and I was doing this interview with the principal of the school, and I asked the lady, so what made you open your school to these people, the displaced people from the south? And she looked at me like pretty incredulous. I mean, what a dumb question. And she said to me, I am human, they are human, so we must help. And this is the only message I want to give. Our brothers and sisters in Palestine, Lebanon, and anywhere else are human. We are human, so we must help. So, whether you visit the website or decide I want to have an event, or, I want to be part of the For Gaza campaign, so that, when we are all called to reckoning, as it were, we are able to say, my Lord, this is what I tried to do. So it's not about money and the amount of money. As you correctly say, it's about the sense of community that can be turned into a movement for Gaza and Lebanon, inshallah.
Inshallah. Ameen. Brother Ashfath, Jazakallah so much for being with us on the show today. I hope I've got your name right.
You did really well. Well done.
Jazakallah. It is the very core of it. It is the heart of Ubuntu. Umuntu, ngumuntu, ngabantu. I am because you are. That's what it boils down to. And we've got to pull together. So Jazakallah so much for being with us on the show and shedding some light on what African Muslims Agency has been doing. And we look forward to hearing from you in the future and staying abreast of things through your eyes and the eyes of your organization.
Inshallah, Allah bless and reward you all tremendously with His mercies and blessings. Inshallah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. There you have, dear listeners, what is going on. And yeah, we can get tired. It is tiring. Think about it this way. If you know someone who's going through stuff, you can empathize, you can sympathize with what's going on, but you feel kind of trapped in what you can do, right? And those are people we know. We can feel unable to do things even with people we know. How much more can we feel helpless when it's a massive situation that is going on, like has been going on in Gaza for so many years? 100 years? More like 150. Now we're going to change track after the ad break, and we're going to talk about Pookies. Pookies is a cookie that's dipped in pancake batter, and it's a challenge all over the social media. So you're going to find out what that has in common with a very rare disease right after this.
We'd love to meet you. Pay us a visit. Radio Al Ansar.
Looking for the perfect Umrah experience? Look no further. One Stop Travel and Tours brings you exclusive Umrah group packages with Qatar Airways departing from Johannesburg. Enjoy a seamless journey with flights, accommodations in Makkah and Medina, and visas all included. Experience spiritual peace with Ziyarat Tours guided in English. Departure dates start from December 25th, returning by January 14th. For a stress-free, soul-enriching Umrah journey, call One Stop Travel today at 031-271-2800. One Stop Travel and Tours. Your pilgrimage, our priority.
Your style upgrade is here. J. Junaid Jamshed brings Spring Sale with up to 50% off on all items. From 23rd October to 3rd November 2024. Drop-in stores or online at va.junaidjamshed.com.
Come get our butcher's best for less at Checkers Foods Cowie Park. Enjoy certified halal butchery products like Championship Boerewors Thin, $89.99 per kg, beef tenderized steak, just $89.99 per kg, and Steakhouse Classic Porterhouse steak equates to 39 Rand per 300 grams or 13 Rand per 100 grams. Deals valid from October 21st to November 10th. Only at Checkers Foods Cowie Park, now certified by the NIHT, the National Independent Halal Trust, across our butchery, bakery, and deli. Looking for the perfect Umrah experience? Look no further. One Stop Travel and Tours brings you exclusive Umrah group packages with Qatar Airways departing from Johannesburg. Enjoy a seamless journey with flights, accommodations in Makkah and Medina, and visas all included. Experience spiritual peace with Ziyarat Tours guided in English. Departure dates start from December 25th, returning by January 14th. For a stress-free, soul-enriching Umrah journey, call One Stop Travel today at 031-271-2800. One Stop Travel and Tours. Your pilgrimage, our priority.
Getting you through your day. Radio Al Ansar.
You are listening to The Social Network on Radio Al Ansar, and I am Rabia Carvalho standing in for Zahir Bassa, who is still out honeymooning. And subhanAllah, may they have a wonderful time and Allah bless their time together. We're going to be talking about cookie dipped in pancake, but we've had a message that came in that I'd really love to read out. It comes in from Shamim Hafaji and written, I believe, from the WhatsApp message. It looks like it was written by Abu Sumaya, and it reads, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Man is always looking for excuses. We say we lack time, but how do we allocate our time? We have a problem with people, but are we associating with the wrong type of people? We curse our life and hate what we're going through. The problem is we waste the life we're given. The material things in your life doesn't matter. Your value as a person doesn't come from them. You always have something to offer the world, and you don't need anyone else's validation to know this. So appreciate your blessings. Allah grant us strength that we need to face today. How beautiful is that message? It does go on. Very beautiful. Jazakallah, Sister Shamim Hafaji, for sharing that with us. We're going to switch tacks a little bit now. And as I said, we're talking about cookies. And Ted, sound engineer, Ted, when I think cookies dipped in pancake batter, that sounds pretty delicious.
It does sound delicious, and it kind of makes me wonder why we haven't been doing it for long.
Like, why have we never done cookies baked over pancake batter?
Right?
Apparently, it's a challenge. Like, I'm thinking like chocolate cookies or brownies. Hey, imagine
What
that.
challenge is this? To state then?
No, I don't think that's the challenge. But there must be a reason behind the challenge because it has something to do with a rare disease. And so we're going to talk to Tasneem Jadwat. Now, Tasneem is the mother of Iman Kasuji, a young girl who's been born with SMA. What is SMA, you may ask? What is SMA? Unfortunately, it is spinal muscular atrophy. And for those of you who don't know it, it's a rare genetic disease. Leads to muscle weakness and can impact basic vital functions like moving, breathing, and swallowing. Our spine is what keeps us alive, essentially, not just upright. I went and had a look when I saw that this was the interview we are doing, and I looked at what some of the studies show in terms of the incidence of SMA syndrome. And can you believe that it is 0.1 to 0.3%? That's very, very rare. Now, while there are treatments available, they do come with jaw-dropping costs. So a single injection of Zolgensma, let me get that again because it always twists my tongue. Zolgensma, okay, 54 million. One single injection. But amidst these challenges, Iman has sparked a fun and meaningful initiative. Yes, she has her own initiative, the Cookie Dipped in Pancake Batter Challenge. And this campaign aims to raise awareness for SMA in a light-hearted, delicious way, while also drawing attention to the immense medical costs associated with the disease. And we want to explore Iman's journey. This is the show where you learn things you didn't know you wanted to learn, things that you didn't know you needed to learn, but we need to know this because it is so rare that, like a community, we want to be there for these people too. So Tasneem is on the line. Assalamu alaikum, Tasneem. Jazakallah for joining us today.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I must say, what a wonderful introduction to SMA. You know, it's becoming terminology that's becoming more common in today's society.
Yes,
so,
yes.
you know, we really, really appreciate Radio Al Ansar for going all out and raising awareness for this condition and assisting those that are affected with it.
Yeah. Now, all we can do is talk about it and share the knowledge. It is a serious condition that's impacting your daughter's life every single day. But somehow the two of you have managed to find joy and creativity through the Cookie Dipped Pancake Batter Challenge. I was just saying to our sound engineer, I want to call it Pookie because it's pancake and cookie together. Now, how did this idea come about? And how did she come up with this?
So Iman's always, you know, creating these fun, fancy dishes. I hated cooking, and, you know, Iman's always been encouraging me to try out new things in life. So she's full of life, full of energy, and full of, you know, wanting to experience and explore everything that she can. And she made a batch of cookies, and her sisters wanted pancakes. So we had the batch of chocolate chip cookies, like you mentioned earlier. And we decided, let's try something. We've always seen these viral videos where people are making these mashups of popular dishes.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it just catches on. And so we dipped the cookie into the pancake batter. And then we just cooked it on both sides on the stove. And that was it. And we got everyone to try it. And, you know, miti roti, we're all familiar with the roti filled with the dal that's soft. So I think miti roti, but up 10 levels, I think, because of the chocolate cookies. So you've got your pancake on the outside, but on the inside, you've got the delicious, delicious chocolate chip cookie, which becomes soft and gooey, and you can just imagine what that tastes like. So,
what's not to love? What is not to love about it? Alhamdulillah. The challenge is fun, and it's got a sweet twist to it, as we can hear. But there is a goal, right? And the goal is still to raise awareness for SMA. So share with us a little bit more about the challenges of living with SMA, especially with treatments that are priced at like 54 million. How do these challenges, what are the challenges and how do they affect families?
So, it's so difficult to understand in the sense that, at the time of Iman's diagnosis, there was no known available treatment. There were a few in the pipeline. And, when she was diagnosed, it was a simple take her home, love her, and she'll die within like a couple of months. So kids with SMA don't generally live past the age of 2. Those are the type ones. There's different types of SMA which affects kids at different stages of life, or adults in some cases. However, we've been trying to fight it, looking after her as best as we can. We've lost a lot of members in our QSMA South Africa group. It's been a tough journey. Iman's been sick a few times as well. So we've had our fair share of challenges. But with that also, we've had our fair share of living life to its fullest. So I think the day Iman was diagnosed, we had a choice. Look, first we had to accept the condition that is from Almighty Allah. And, acceptance of that is the first step in moving forward. And Shukr, we've had such a journey in life with her where we've experienced ourselves as well. We appreciate every little thing that we do. We value the things we often overlook. Simply like SMA affects the muscles, so it affects the ability to move, to breathe, to swallow, and in some cases, kids even lose the sense of smiling. The muscle move that involves smiling, they lose the ability to smile. So you can imagine, it was a journey that was very difficult. It's still not as easy, but just to put listeners in the light, there's always hope at the end of the tunnel. So Iman recently was involved in a clinical trial in Cape Town. She was fortunate enough to be able to be accepted, and she received the drug that cost 54 million rand without any payment from us. In fact, they paid for everything. They paid for our flights, our hotels. So Allah is there, you make your dua and Allah answers it like you can't believe. And this challenge, I would say, is born from that as well, where we want to give back now to the SMA community. The sooner people find out about SMA, that is what is key with this disease. And in most cases, most rare diseases, the sooner you find out, you get your diagnosis, that's when you can take that next step and see what you can do for your child. So you don't look at just the negatives, you look at what you can do. And I was invited along with my husband to SMA Europe. A conference was held in Belgium in Ramadan this year. So we won a scholarship to attend the conference and to learn and to see what's the latest in treatments. We met the researchers, the doctors from all over the world. And so, SMA Europe is very close to our heart. And we decided to, once we posted this video and we noticed that, it was gaining a lot of traction, we decided to combine forces and turn it into a challenge. Yes. So you'll recall the Ice Bucket Challenge, which happened a few years ago for ALS, which is very similar to SMA, where people were throwing cold ice on others, and just for awareness, So we are trying to raise funds as well for SMA Europe, because I believe that, if SMA Europe can raise those funds for the organization, it affects the whole world. The whole world will benefit from those who suffer from SMA.
And just raising awareness through this cookie pancake challenge, cookie dipped in pancake batter challenge. I mean, for those who are out there on social media, I'm on social media as well. I'll drop my handle, which is Life Coach Rabia. I will join in and do a cookie dipped in pancake batter challenge. And I must actually tag you, inshallah, and let's raise that awareness. Let's let people know that, there are conditions like this that are so difficult on the person, so difficult on the family, and yet throughout it all there is still joy and peace to be found. From what I hear from you, it is not a pie in the sky, but absolutely, these things sometimes bring one closer to family.
Definitely. I'm excited to see your video and you tag SMA. We're so excited to get everybody involved in raising that awareness. And yes, you're right. It's not a pie in the sky. It's a cookie dipped in a pancake. Yes. So everybody can do it, inshallah. We can make a difference in the world. Inshallah, you're talking about Palestine earlier, and what breaks my heart also as a mom with a child that has disabilities is that so many kids in Palestine are, I know I'm changing the topic here, but it hurts you because those kids are healthy and walking, and suddenly they are losing their limbs. So we try our best as well to make a difference for Palestine as well, but yeah, inshallah, there's so many different causes that we all need to work towards, inshallah.
I think, inshallah, I think Palestine has all of our hearts at this stage, and you definitely do not need to be Muslim to stand with Palestine. You just need to be human, as they say so many times, and it's so true. And so there are many needs, and just because a situation is rare does not mean that it is less of a need. And so how are you hoping that the Cookie Challenge will bring attention to the condition, but then also help others that are facing similar struggles?
So alhamdulillah, it's all about education. We need people to understand that SMA is a different type of condition. It's not a condition that somebody has because you think they sort of resemble that. There are so many different rare diseases.
Mm-hmm.
So SMA is just one of them, but we'd like attention drawn to it so that we can raise that awareness. If screening is done early enough, if kids are tested early enough for SMA, there's life-changing, life-saving medical treatment that's available. That's okay, it's not totally accessible, but there is a way that you can get it, inshallah, so it can really literally change lives. I mean, the drug that costs so much, when given early enough, kids are walking, and I put normal in inverted commas because normal obviously has different connotations,
it's relative,
but the impact of the medication. There are 3 FDA approved drugs now as compared to when my daughter was diagnosed 15 years ago. But alhamdulillah, there's definitely a need to spread that awareness, and we can spread the sweetness. We can make it fun and impactful by whipping the cookies. And inshallah, it's something different. So we celebrate differences. We celebrate the rare, because something like this is rare as well. You would typically put your pancake into batter and then cook it. So, it's all about celebrating the differences and realizing we are all one, striving towards a common goal, in life.
That's right. We are the cookie inside the pancake of the world community. We are. And we had a message from Fazl Hussein, and I just want to read the last line of that message. It's quite a lot. It's quite a long message. But there's a sentence here that caught my eye. And he says, change is inevitable. Change will always happen, but you have to apply direction to change. And that's when there is progress. And that is so true. That's exactly what you're doing. You know that there's change. You know that, things are going to progress. You want to apply direction in order to allow people to be aware of it. Come on, folks. Let's get those cookies dipped into pancake batter, fry them up, and tag. Who do we tag? Who do we tag, Tasneem?
So we tag SMA Europe. You can tag my Instagram as well, Chalo Kawa, and just use the hashtag We Are One.
We are one. Simunye. Ameen. Inshallah. Folks, if you are out there and you have a cookie at home and you have pancake batter that you can quickly mix up, alhamdulillah, you have more than so many people out there. We are so, so blessed. And if you have a social media account, get the kids involved, get the whole family involved, and get the cookies cooked in pancake batter out there.
And any cookie, whatever cookie is available in your house, just go for it. It doesn't have to be a chocolate chip cookie. Iman loves chocolate chip cookies, so that's why she used that. But any cookie, it's just getting it dipped and making it. That's what
the Cookie Monster doesn't matter what cookie. It's a cookie. Get your cookie into that batter and get it cooked. Tasneem, jazakallah so much for being with us on the show today and shedding some light on this condition. It is a serious condition. We are trying to keep it lighthearted, folks, for the sake of information and knowledge, but we do encourage you to go ahead. Put the cookie in the batter.
Is the world.
Jazakallah so much. And that was Tasneem Jadwat, and the young person, the young lady who has the spinal muscular atrophy is Iman Kasuji. And so let's also get together, and I hope that you will join me in making dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant her complete recovery, complete shifa. Miracles happen, folks. So why should we determine when a miracle is possible or not, right? Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows when those miracles are possible. May Allah help Iman and anybody else who is going through that, and help us to be of help by sharing that information with others and the knowledge. Imagine that, Ted, 0.1% of people actually get that. That's pretty rare.
That's staggering.
It is staggering. And the spine, what is it? I mean, we think the spine just keeps us upright, but that's where all the nerve impulses go to, right? And I mean, you can stop breathing if your second, third vertebra is severed. You can die because your lungs don't work. So this is going to affect the body's, some heavy topics, but also things to be grateful for, because look, there are people out there making a difference, Ted.
That's always a pleasure to see.
And if you can make a difference with a cookie and pancake batter, be the cookie monster.
Absolutely.
Go out there and do it. We're going to take a quick ad break. And right after that, we're going to have a small intermission where we speak to our head of content to give us a little bit of an update on what's up and about in the news before we talk to Shagufta Khan about our Ladies Night program coming up at Al Ansar. Stay with us on Radio Al Ansar. We will be back right after this break.
We'd love to meet you. Pay us a visit. Radio Al Ansar.
You've played it previously.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Pop up the volume.
The Breakfast Rush brain squeeze.
5,200 rand. Mrs. Abdul Salam, welcome.
Walaikum salam. You have to give a little, in 10 seconds is not easy on a little. Now, come on.
Shh.
Carry on.
She just shushed me on radio. Jazakallah for being such an amazing and entertaining caller. We love that you
No
listen to the program.
problem.
Thank you so much for trying. 5,200. I kid you not. That was one of the most entertaining calls we've taken for a while.
It's back on the Breakfast Rush.
As promised at last year's Durban Summer Cirque, part of our profits will go to making a real difference in our community. The Al Ansar Foundation proudly completed its first borehole for the community of Redcliffe. With water shortages affecting many, our mission is clear. Let's bring clean water to more areas in need. Join us in making an impact. Call Outreach on 031 208 1601 or visit alansar.org.za to help build more boreholes and transform lives.
We'd love to meet you. Pay us a visit. Radio Al Ansar.
Back to the social network. You're listening to the social network, and Brother Zahir Bassa is not here today. So, hangas, I don't know. But I know that I'm here. Rabia Carvalho, I'm with you, and I hope you're enjoying the show. We've spoken about Palestine. We've spoken about diseases, very, very rare conditions, SMA. And on the line now, just to give us an update on what's going on around the world in terms of news, is our own head of content, Muhammad Ayaz Kareem. Now, he's not just the head of content, but he is what I would call the news guy. Because if there's news out there, he will know about it. Muhammad Ayaz Kareem. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, Mac?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am wonderful, and I just want to say, I had no doubt that you would kill this hosting job, but honestly, I am thoroughly enjoying the show so far. You know, I hardly really listened to my own show, but I just could not put it off today.
Alhamdulillah, that is a good sign. I'm glad, and I hope the listeners out there are enjoying the show. Zahir Bassa has very, very big shoes to fill, and not just because I'm short. But tell me about what's happening in the news. What's going on in the world?
So there's so much happening right now, but there's one story in particular I want to touch on because it's honestly a little bit cathartic, and I find it a little bit hilarious, and I really think we should just bring attention to it.
Okay.
So I'm sure that for those of you who follow the news, you've seen that King Charles is currently on a tour around the world, and he was in Australia for the last couple of days. So this is something that the monarchy does, where they basically visit all their former colonies to, I don't know, grace people with their presence. I really don't know what the reason behind it is. But the part where it gets really good is that, so Harry and Meghan have been kicked out of the royal family, essentially, and they've been doing these tours all over, and they've always really well received. King Charles and Camilla, on the other hand, arrived in Australia, and they were met by, so I guess it was an old Australian person who King Charles greeted them, and the person responded, "Don't greet me, you're not my king." And I mean, it's funny, but it escalated to such a point that essentially all over Australia, people are literally rejecting this monarch. And it reached a point where in Parliament, one of the members of Parliament actually stood up in Parliament and heckled the king, saying, "You're not our king, give us back our land, you thief." And it's literally, it's caught on like wildfire, where essentially the entire country of Australia is mocking this old man.
Sure. So the up top,
I just feel like it's karma, and it's funny.
The up tops are down under.
You know, it's really it's ironic because Harry and Meghan, who aren't even technically royals anymore, are still always received with fanfare and applause and respect. Yet this king over here is being literally told, why should we give you the respect after you colonized us? And I feel like we're seeing this trend emerge throughout Africa with all these former colonies. People are finally being like, listen here, not today, Satan, not today.
Yes. As a child of, I was born when Portugal was still a colonialist, and I was born in one of the colonies, and I did, renounce that citizenship to be Portuguese, because I do believe there is a noise on the line. Let's see if we can clear that up. I do believe that, to Africa, that which is of Africa. And it doesn't make us any less African to be here. But in terms of the kings, that is something that in this day and age really just leaves me wondering, Mara, why? Do we still need a king? Do people still need a king? It's not like they have any legislative power. What do you say, Mac?
Well, he still technically does have certain oversight, but it's honestly a lot more performative. I think the jarring part is that the British taxpayer spends millions just supporting and maintaining not only their properties but their lavish lifestyle, and it's really difficult to reconcile considering the fact that the average British person can't afford to heat their home.
Yeah. And especially with the colonies enduring what they are enduring and what they have endured. So what else is up on the news? In fact, we are coming up for the news. So that's all we have time for with you, Mac. Just
man.
You see that. You see, you were too slow on the uptake there.
Oh, well, maybe later if there's time, but if not, there is news. I just want to make, add one thing quickly.
Sure.
It's just important to note there's been a huge issue going on in Gauteng with regards to poisoning in schools, and the trend has suddenly shifted to KwaZulu-Natal. So please just be cognizant and aware, and make sure that if your children buy from a tuck shop or street vendors, rather maybe just be a little bit more diligent about where you're eating from.
Wow. Is this in food or drink or both?
So it's in food. It's typically it's only surfaced in school so far. Some kids have died in Gauteng, and it's usually like, I don't know if you notice outside schools, there's usually vendors selling crisps and things like that.
Yes.
These have all been the sources of the poisoning so far.
Oh my goodness. Well, Jazakallah for letting us know about that. Very important information for you out there, and we're going to be back right after the news. But it is time to do the necessary. So let's go to the news.
Radio Al-Ansar. An informative Islamic global perspective. This is Al-Ansar News.
Back in news, they are the 23rd of October. The news from Durban, 90.4 FM, Pietermaritzburg, 105.6 FM. KwaZulu-Natal MEC for Public Works says policy on rebuilding damaged infrastructure needs revision. That's the news. Making news this hour. Now, KwaZulu-Natal Public Works MEC Martin Meyer says policies on rebuilding weather-damaged infrastructure need to be changed. The province has faced some destructive storm over the years, including floods and tornadoes, leaving thousands destitute and infrastructure destroyed. Martin Meyer says they have begun research and engagement on climate-resilient building methods. He says that the best plan forward is building better. However, victims of floods and rain in KwaZulu-Natal bemoan their plight.
I am upset. It's terrible. It's not good for us. It's our health condition is not good at all. At our age, it's not good at all. Look at our children. They're going to live in an environment like this. We can't afford to go and buy a house somewhere else. with the cost of living that's so high today. So we need the municipality, we need the government to come and assist us. That's what we need. We're not crying for anything else. We need assistance. We need pavements. If you look around, there's no pavement down here. So where does our children walk?
And there was no assistance from the government or anyone. We just trying to survive. And now the slight rain came. It was a worry on our side. So all of us got together, cleaned the drains ourselves. But in front of my yard is big potholes. So even if you clean your vehicle, you can't even come out your depot because the road is damaged so badly.
More news. Fireworks worth 4 million rands have been recovered after being stolen in an armed robbery. The police's Camille Renee says a gang stormed a business in Camperdown yesterday and tied up several guards. Renee's of the police says that the robbers bolted away with trailers containing fireworks meant for an event. Police say a case was opened at the Camperdown police station. Earlier in the week, police received intelligence-driven information on the possible whereabouts of some of the stocks that was stolen. Now, police say, however, they have recovered over 500 cases of firecrackers and a truck used in the robbery. The suspect are due to appear in courts tomorrow. More news. There are calls for police to probe contacts of alleged drug mules for possible syndicate connections. 14 drug mules have been arrested at the OR Tambo International Airport in recent weeks. Non-profit organization Pakiba South Africa is calling for the arrest of the recruiters. The founder and CEO, Glory Matepile, of the foundation has this to say.
What are the police saying about the people who recruited her? Have they done investigations in terms of that? Because this is what is happening also with our South Africans who are in foreign prisons. There is no investigation done for them. So that's why we are calling for the government to sign the international prisoner transfer so that all these who are recruiting our people here in South Africa must also be investigated, and there must also be arrest on them. Because why do we arrest the victims and then we leave the recruiters to go and recruit more and more within the country? And the sad part in all of this is that we work with international organizations like Father Witherspoon, who's in Hong Kong. He's been in South Africa now for 4 years. He's been visiting us, and every time he visits us, he comes with the information from the inmates, from the male and the female side, with information of the people who recruited them here in South Africa.
International story. The Lebanese Hezbollah resistance movement has launched renewed attacks on Israeli military operations or positions in northern occupied Palestinian territories in response to Tel Aviv's regime's airstrike on Lebanese towns and villages. Hezbollah issued a statement confirming the strikes, which were in support of a steadfast Palestinians in Gaza, courageous resistance fighters there, and in the defense of Lebanon. Shortly afterwards, Lebanon or Hezbollah also claimed responsibility for yet another rocket attack against Israeli troops stationed at the Misgav Amarab Triangle. Additionally, an Israeli military position was bombed with a barrage of rockets on the outskirts of the village of Odessa, which is located close to the Blue Line border with occupied lands. Financial indicators ran to the dollar 17 rands 74, the euro 19 rands 13 cents, and the British pound 22 rands 99 cents. Your weather 25 degrees. A quick reminder of our top story. KwaZulu-Natal Public Works MEC Martin Meyer says policies on rebuilding weather-damaged infrastructure need to be revised. That's the news. We now cross over to Peter Maritzburg for more stories.
Making news in Pietermaritzburg on 105.6 FM. Former Mvoti Mayor Philani Mavunjla has cautioned political leaders against making reckless remarks at political gatherings. Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. I'm Sabiha Ismail. Former Mvoti Mayor Philani Mavunjla has cautioned political leaders against making reckless remarks at political gatherings. His comments follow the Pietermaritzburg High Court ordering Umzinyathi District Municipality and Mvoti Councillor Petros Ngubane to pay him more than 468,000 rand. The court order follows Ngubane's failure to pay an initial 180,000 rand as mandated by the court in a 2012 defamation case. In that ruling, Ngubane was ordered to compensate Mavunjla for defamatory remarks made in 2009. The defamation case stemmed from statements made by Ngubane, which were published in newspapers and broadcast on the radio. In his remarks, Ngubane alleged that the ANC supported the killing of IFP members and wrongfully accused Mavunjla of being personally involved in efforts to eliminate IFP members. Ngubane also wrongfully claimed that Mavunjla bribed members of the Amakosi in the House of Traditional Leaders. According to Mavunjla, Ngubane only paid 50,000 rand after his property was seized, leaving 130,000 rand outstanding. And finally, Mzinduzi Mayor Mzinkulu Tebola had his hands full this morning when residents from Woodlands, Scottsville, and the western parts of the city gathered outside the city hall demanding answers on the water and electricity challenges. The recent water curtailment was also a hot issue, which the residents claimed was manipulated. Ward 25 resident Albie Parfit said people were tired of the same explanation on the same problems, but with less relief. She said the water curtailment was selective. Montrose resident Howard Nicol said the city had no expertise to deal with the water issues. He said the lack of understanding in the city's water system was a huge challenge. Mayor Tebola acknowledged the concerns raised by residents, but said it was unfair for them to leave a council meeting which was currently underway. Just to recap, the temperature here in PMB is currently 22 degrees. That's it from Pietermaritzburg on 105.6 FM. For Al Ansar, this is Sabiha Ismail.
And we are back to the social network. Yes, the social network today. Zahir Basa is away. I am Rabia Carvalho standing in for him. And just in a little while, we're going to be talking to Shagufta Khan as she speaks to us about the Al Ansar's Ladies Not program. In the meantime, I've got a little riddle for you if you'd like to answer. It's just a fun little thing to do, right? Just a fun little thing to do. What has a head but no brain? What has a head but no brain? Yeah. Do you know, Ted, what has a head but no brain?
I have a couple, but that's me.
No, we're not saying people now. No, come on now, folks. You can WhatsApp your answer if you think you know it on 060 904 1056. Before we went to the news, Muhammad Ayaz Kareem was telling us about what's going down in the schools and about the fact that there are kids suffering from food poisoning, came from Gauteng, and now it is in KwaZulu-Natal. It's not the kind of thing we want to import, right? And so I looked it up, and apparently, here it goes, 43 pupils from Ted. Please tell me if I'm pronouncing this right. Ngaka Primary School.
Perfect.
Hey, man. Yes. Hey. Ngaka Primary School in Mtuba. They were rushed, unfortunately, to a local clinic because they fell ill from poisoned snacks. Now, something that my parents always said to me is, keep your food close. If you're going out to socials and you are with friends, make sure that if you get yourself a drink, that drink is sealed when you get it and you don't keep it out of your sight. And I think the same thing, unfortunately, nowadays applies to every social environment, perhaps even in schools. I see there's quite a few answers that have come in here, Ted, to our riddle. What has a head but no brains? Let's see. So somebody here, one of our listeners says a nail or a screw. Not quite. No.
I would look at that.
Although let's say it does have a head and no, but it's not the answer I'm looking for. The answer for the riddle is a clock, a head but no brains. Ooh, not quite though. No, not the answer we're looking for. It kind of has the brain in the sense that it's got like a mechanism behind it.
Okay.
What else do we have? Got quite a few people that have messaged in. Aramacada says a cabbage also. And Rihanna Limale got it. She said it's a nail. Naz got it right. Yes, Naz, to the rescue. The answer is lettuce.
Oh, okay.
So you know what? I had to bring a little bit of green thumbs up gardening in there because, folks, that gets so very, very sad to hear about all these stories. It's so true, everything that's happening around the world, but nothing like a little spot of fun to keep us back on track. And Feroza also says it is lettuce. Who do we have here? Rihanna, as we said a nail. The answer, dear folks, was a lettuce. And let us continue. We're going to be speaking to Shagufta Khan, one of our very own, one of my sisters from another mister, and from Radio Al Ansar. We're just going to go straight away to a little ad break, and when we get back, we're going to be speaking to Shagufta Khan about our new Naat program.
Audio stream across the world on radioalansar.co.za.
Looking for the perfect Umrah experience? Look no further. One Stop Travel and Tours brings you exclusive Umrah group packages with Qatar Airways departing from Johannesburg. Enjoy a seamless journey with flights, accommodations in Makkah and Medina, and visas all included. Experience spiritual peace with Ziyarat Tours guided in English. Departure dates start from December 25th, returning by January 14th. For a stress-free, soul-enriching Umrah journey, call One Stop Travel today at 031-271-2800. One Stop Travel and Tours. Your pilgrimage, our priority.
ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا.
Spend 400 rands or more to win with Checkers Foods Kawi Park and Radio Al Ansar. You could be one of 8 weekly winners of a Philips 6.2-liter air fryer or a Weber Bryce stand valued at over 2,000 rand. Hop into Checkers Foods Kawi Park, shop, drop your till slip into the entry box, and wait for your name to be announced on air. That's it. Checkers Foods Kawi Park, certified by the NIHT, the National Independent Halal Trust, across the butchery, bakery, and deli. T's and C's apply.
Welcome back to the Social Network. We've got Sister Shagufta Khan on the line, and she's going to tell us all about an upcoming event at Radio Al Ansar. Now, I know Shagufta has been talking about Naats for a very long time. Let's hear from her. Assalamu alaikum, Shagufta. How are you?
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. How are you, my dear sister?
Alhamdulillah. It's so good to hear your voice. You know, I hear your voice and I remember you. You have this wonderful, you know, for the listener who doesn't know, Shagufta has a wonderful way of reciting Urdu poetry in such a way that I don't know what she's saying, but it moves my soul anyway.
Oh, okay. Okay, yes, you are right, Rabia, that I was waiting for this program, this day of Naat and Nasheed from a long time.
Yes.
And Alhamdulillah, Al Ansar is hosting this Naat and Nasheed program on Sunday, 10th of November, 2 to 5 p.m. And you know where about? 189 West Road, Overport, a big hall. So all my sisters can come and join us for a wonderful program with lots of melodious voice, in which Zora Khan will be there, Hafiza Suleiman will be there, our Radio Al Ansar Mariam will be there, and we have a lot of and Zakia Khatib will be there. So please join us. The tickets will be 150 rand, and it is available at Al Ansar bookshop. And if you want to try for office time, so Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. you can collect your ticket. And we have in this program, we have Naat, Nasheed, maybe Amina Feeling will be there for a Baqira, and lot of young reciters like Ria as well. The granddaughter of Mariam will be there as well. And we're all waiting for this. Rabia?
Absolutely. And that's our very own Ria that the listeners will remember. She did the bubble. The children's bubble. Remember that show? That is so super. So she will be joining us as well on the Naat show. So you said, to recap, it's Sunday, the 10th of November. Give us that time again.
Yes. 2 to 5, and as I mentioned, Zora Khan and Zakia Khatib and our Mariam, our Ria, and Faiza Suleiman, Tawhida, lots and lots beautiful melodious voices will be there to give gratitude to our Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi
wasallam. Now,
and 150 rand is not for nothing. Just to hear, you will have nice goodies, you have nice, prizes you will get, you have halim, you can have savories, lots of things and a lot of prizes as well. So it's going to be very exciting program of Naat and Nasheed.
I was going to ask about food because snacks are always good. You know, when us ladies get together, we like to have a little bit of a nosh now and then as well. So you get to be in good company. You get to listen to some lovely Naat and Nasheed. You get to have some snacks and win some prizes. And you can come through Sunday, the 10th of November.
Yes, and I am giving one ticket away. So I wanted you can announce, then I can ask a question.
Okay, sure. Let's give that ticket away. Let's make the question. Okay, what is the date? The first person to answer this. What is the date? Remember, this is a ladies only program. The date for the Al Ansar Naat program. WhatsApp your answers to 060 904 1056. Shagufta is giving away a free ticket. Come on now.
One free ticket for the listener.
Yes, for a listener. We're waiting for you. Oh, and it's been taken already. Here we go. Can we have a look? Is there a name on this WhatsApp? Here we go. Rashida, Sister Rashida, you are our winner. The 10th of November. That's right. You are the winner.
Wow.
So we're going to take your details down and give you a ticket
to us, and she will get. She's really lucky to have 150 rand ticket, not for only things. The beautiful, very renowned Naat reciters will be there, and this Naat program we are having after very long, so don't miss out.
It's a whole experience. It is the Al Ansar Ladies Naat program.
Yes.
And I'm going to see you there.
Inshallah, I'm going to see you there as well. We all wanted, all the ladies, all the children, all the girls. It's ladies only program. So please come and join us to have this Naat and Nasheed program of Al Ansar and give your gratitude towards our Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from ladies only.
That's it. Absolutely. So remember, that is our Nasheed program. Jazakallah so much. Shagufta, have you been well? How's this, on a side note, how's this rain been treating you?
Oh, I'm fine. Alhamdulillah, only making dua that this rain should not, just making dua for the rahmat, and the barakat in this rain as well. Just trying making dua for all the people, who are living in the unprivileged area. I'm just worried and making dua for all of them.
Yeah. The floods from before and the floods now. It's just
that's all. To me, according to me, all the weathers. All the things are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a barakat for all of us. Allah just make it easy for all of us.
Of course. Ameen, Suma, Ameen. Jazakallah so much, Shagufta, for sharing with us all about Al Ansar Ladies Naat program. And we are going to chat to you very soon again.
Inshallah. Jazakallah, Rabia. Jazakallah so much.
Ameen. Sister Shagufta said something interesting, and that is that everything comes from Allah. I have found, and maybe just a thought for the listeners, let me know if you agree or don't agree. I have found that, when something exits your life or something gets taken away, let's say the rain comes along and washes away a wall or something, there is always some goodness that comes out of that. I remember ages ago, my car kept giving me problems, kept giving me kind of stalling on the highway until I realized that it was stalling, and that was the least of my worries, because if I had carried on driving it, the engine would have fallen out. So in actual fact, I was saved. So by having to check why the car kept breaking down, I was able to realize that actually this car had seen its day. And initially I was quite concerned because, it's expensive nowadays. You've got to go and get a new car or get this one fixed. There was no way to repair this one. Poor thing. Ted, the radiator was gone.
Oh,
the engine was gone. The gearbox was cracked. The gasket had two big cracks in. This car had seen
a car. That's not a car.
Yeah, it was kind of on its last legs.
Wheelbarrow with extra wheels.
A wheelbarrow. Indeed it was. And you know what? It was by Allah's mercy that I ended up in another car. And then I found myself thinking, you know what? Maybe that was Allah's way of saying, Rabia, I think you need a new car. I think you need a different car. And Struis Bob, as they say, I needed to get around to a lot more places. And now there was a car. So sometimes when we look at something, we think, gosh, there is not goodness in this. There is always something good that comes out of something bad, no matter what you have been through. Speaking about something bad and something good, we've had good and we've had bad on the show, and I hope that you will remember that cookie in the batter dough. You can tag SMA Europe. I think she said it was SMA Europe, Ted.
Yes.
Yeah, SMA Europe. And of course, you can always listen back to the show and get that information again in terms of her own Instagram and so forth. So now we are going to take a quick little ad break. Once again, we mustered all the necessary, and we're going to come back with some more of the current stuff, because I know Mac wanted to tell us some more of what's going on, and we didn't get a chance. And he said if we get a chance, let's get him. So let's get him back on the line straight after this ad break.
Looking for the perfect Umrah experience? Look no further. One Stop Travel and Tours brings you exclusive Umrah group packages with Qatar Airways departing from Johannesburg. Enjoy a seamless journey with flights, accommodations in Makkah and Medina, and visas all included. Experience spiritual peace with Ziyarat Tours guided in English. Departure dates start from December 25th, returning by January 14th. For a stress-free, soul-enriching Umrah journey, call One Stop Travel today at 031-271-2800. One Stop Travel and Tours. Your pilgrimage, our priority.
We're back with the social network, and I'm Robbie Goodvalue standing in for Zahir Bassa, our brother who is honeymooning, and may Allah bless them and keep them well and happy always. So on the line we have Mac, Muhammad, Ayaz, Kareem. You're back. You did say if there's time, you want to tell us more. So here we are. We've got some time for you. What else is going on out there that we should know?
Me again.
You
Honestly, I wasn't expecting this call, but I'm glad that you called me back. There is a lot to talk about. So my chicks are currently writing exams, and as you know, the weather has been like problematic to say the least.
Yes.
So the recent bout of weather is in Nelson Mandela Bay, and it's actually caused, at least on last count, I think 44 matrics weren't even able to sit for exams because the weather was so bad.
Wow.
There have been at least 2 people confirmed dead. It's getting really bad. And it's honestly a cause for concern. I mean, to a point when weather is disrupting huge things like matric exams and people are actually dying from rain, then you must know this is weather on another level, right?
Totally. And I'm sure that Sumaya Khan, our School Matters host, will be telling us a lot more about the impact on matriculants, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, look, at the end of the day, our education system is broken and we desperately need to fix it. So let's just hope the matrics can get through this. And, the class that's writing right now, the matrics right now, are the ones who started high school when COVID hit, right?
Yes.
So they've been really impacted from the inception of their school career. And it's so like, I think we all remembering them in our duas. And it's important to just help where we can and give the support.
You know, you're right, because if we think back, 2020, this is 2024, those last 4 years of school, those are like the most important years, because like in grade 9 already, grade 8, grade 9, you need to start choosing your subjects that you want to do, even if you're not sure where you're going. Then come grade 10, you're choosing again. And the choices that you're making based on not being able to access classes, not being able to go to school, and now things kind of washing away under you, that is hectic.
And I mean, also consider the fact that you start your high school career they were doing online classes and their school was cancelled. I mean, the reading level in our country dropped several steps, several levels since the pandemic hit. And we've never fully recovered from that, you know?
And it's not like our university students are doing well on that on that point anyway. I mean, you know that I help with a university as well, and we find that there is such a difficulty in transitioning into university from school in South Africa because of language skills. Now, if we have this, it just compounds the problem.
100%. But look, I think in one final story, I just really would like to comment on this. So for those of you who don't know, the BRICS summit is currently taking place in Russia right now. And the president is there. And I was reading up on this and like looking at what's interesting and what's developing. But the thing that caught my eye was the fact that John Steenhuisen came out with his full chest and made a statement where he condemned Ramaphosa, forget this, calling Russia our ally. Hello, BRICS is an alliance. Russia and South Africa are founding members. Like, did this man think that we were not allies? Like, somebody needs to give him a wake-up call, I think.
I think, look, we might not always approve of other people's positions on things, but there are political moves that need to be made. And I think BRICS is one of the moves that South Africa has always been interested in making, precisely because it wants to water down the impact of the dollar. And if that is going to help South Africa and is going to help our buying power and it's going to uplift our people, I suppose, there's method in whether they perceive it a madness or not, right?
And that is the key thing. So this summit right now, the main point of discussion is the de-dollarization, right? This will have significant impact on our economy. It's also important to note that before COVID, the rand was sitting at 15 rand a dollar. We've never recovered from that. People say that us going below 17 is like an impossibility at this point. The only reason why we hit that is because of the interest rate hikes by the United States since COVID. That has impacted us. Now, if you consider the price of things in 2020 compared to now, we're talking hundreds of percents of increases across the board. It's become unsustainable, and something's got to give at this point.
For sure. And people sitting at home thinking, well, you know what, the dollar doesn't really affect me because I don't use dollars. The trouble is, when you look at economy on a national scale, there's buying and selling of goods, there's supply chain, there's all these things that require money. And on an international playing field, the dollar has been that currency. And if our currency can't afford the dollar, then we're in the hot water, as well as the cold water from the rain. And on that note,
100%, I just want to say on that point, for those of you out there listening to this who think that the dollar doesn't affect you, I am here to tell you that the dollar has a lot more impact on your life than the rand ever will.
Yeah, true, because the one impacts the other. So the last I heard, it would have been $55 to 1 rand. Now that would make a lot of people's lives change radically, substantially. But that is all we have for the show today, Mr. Muhammad Ayaz Kareem Mac. Brother.
It was so much fun, and thank you so much for calling me, and thank you so much for doing such an amazing job. Cannot wait till tomorrow.
Cannot wait till tomorrow either, folks. That's it for the Social Network for today. From me, Rabia Carvalho, and the entire team, Ted, Muhammad Ayaz Kareem, who is the producer as well as our head of content. I want to just say to you, remember, it is a beautiful day to be happy. So from all of us here at the Al Ansari team, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Looking for luxury furniture at unbeatable prices? Visit Sukasa Designs in Springfield Park, where style meets affordability. From designer lounge suites to exclusive dining sets, we